Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. With Visions of the Past launching tomorrow, it dawned on me that I had not talked about a very special piece of news regarding Guild Wars 2. And I know, shocker, you definitely need more people talking about it. Especially someone coming in so late on the train. However, there was a blog post titled, Looking Ahead to Spring, Summer, and the Future. And there was an additional news update today, which I'll be hinting at later on in the video. But I wanted to give my thoughts about this specific news update that we got last week, which was quite a surprise. Came, out of the blue, one would say, and it was an unexpected treat. So I'm just going to basically go over it pretty quickly, but I want to focus in on the very first paragraph that they've written. It says, spring is fast approaching with summer hot on its heels, and it's time for some updates on what's next for Guild Wars 2. We've got plenty of great content updates in the works, beginning with Visions of the Past Steel and Fire next week on March 17th. In the coming months, you'll see the return of favorite festivals, new episodes of the Icebrute Saga, and a few surprises. And then they continue on into the next sections, but just from that, it's very interesting that they say episodes, plural, of the Icebrute Saga. Do I think they're going to be launching episode 3 and then episode 4? Not necessarily, though they might. I definitely think it's more plausible for them to do episode 3 and then maybe another Visions of the Past, considering that they have everything pretty much set up. Or, Season 1. That could also be considered a part of the saga, even though it's its own separate season, and I wouldn't like it if they deemed Season 1 as being a part of the, a content update for the Icebrute Saga. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. They could. I wouldn't like it. I don't think they necessarily will, but you never know. And then we get this beautiful graphic, as they did with the Quarter 1 updates, showing, the basic overview of what is to come with the festivals. They have Super Adventure Festival, Dragon Bash, and then the PvE section, they have the Icebrute Saga Episode 3, with bonus events returning, and apparently one new one being added later on in the blog post, and then some competitive updates, legendary accessories, and the Tournament of Legends, which actually the legendary accessories are coming tomorrow. I actually didn't read the date it was coming, and then I just read it before I started this video. I was like, oh, it's coming tomorrow. Okay, great. So, first thing that they have coming next after Steel and Fire is the Super Adventure Festival, which will probably launch around April 1st, sometime in April, my birthday month. Considering it was when it's always kind of launched, and it launched on April 1st, I believe. So Super Adventure Festival is coming up next. And then they say, chronologically, after Super Adventure Box, Episode 3 will come out, and then after that, Dragon Bash. But in terms of the blog post, they mention Super Adventure Festival first, then they mention Dragon Bash, and then they go into Living World. But just keep that in mind. SAB, Episode, and then probably Dragon Bash. And then in the Living World section, they gave us a little bit of a hint at the coming episode, which I'm just going to read because it is helpful. It reads, the major release following Super Adventure Festival is the 3rd episode of the Icebrute Saga, in which we'll get some respite from the bitter cold. Vanguard's war machine has driven out of the far Shiver Peaks and further west to the dense forests of the Woodland Cascades, an area inspired by the beautiful Pacific Northwest that ArenaNet calls home. Oh, I'm so excited for the Woodland Cascades. The episode's environment will focus on capturing and defending territories in a PvE map using objectives similar to World vs. World to drive enemies back, defeat familiar foes, and maximize the potential for rewards. You'll also tackle a new strike mission with a different spin on gameplay mechanics, which I wonder what that is, more to come. And then they lead into the systems, March 17th, the legendary amulets for PvP and World vs. World. And then they mention that they're planning to bring back some PvE events we ran in 2019 and introduce some new ones. Or a new one. It's singular, not plural. Thanks, crew. And I thought that was going to be it. And when I first saw this, I was in class, minding my own damn business, when ArenaNet decided to throw this at me, and I wanted to scream and shout and get a little too hyped, but I was in class, so I had to restrain myself. When I first saw this, I saw the graphic of this piece of artwork that was in motion, which I have since grabbed and blown up to make it a little bit better. Hope you guys enjoyed that in the beginning of the video. But I was like, what is this? And then I was like, I don't see anything on this. And then I scrolled all the way down to the part that says, a glimpse of the distant future. And I'm just going to read it. I know you've all read it. I know Wooden Potatoes has read it. I know Mighty Teapot has read it. I know everybody and their damn mother has read it, but I'm going to read it too, okay? It says, a glimpse of the distant future. Finally, we have some special news to share. Development is underway on a third Guild Wars 2 expansion. The team is hard at work, and it's much too soon to talk about any details right now, including features, story, release date, or development timeline. We'll have to stick to that until we're ready to reveal more information to the world. When we are ready, you'll definitely know. Thank you for your patience and support. We'd like to leave you with a piece of early concept art so you can dream along with us about where we're headed. And I just looked at it and I immediately thought, you know, Corteria. It was like, we're going to go back to Divinity's Reach. And I got so bored. I was like, oh my god, you know, like, let's go somewhere else. You might have gleamed my sarcasm from that, but we are probably going to Cantha or some other Eastern country-inspired area with the temples and the architecture and the giant bells, and it's Cantha, y'all. It's Cantha. Bish is Cantha. We ain't playing here. It's probably Cantha. It's like 98% sure. I mean, and the image people were able to find when the image is linked, it says Xingji. So yeah. Way to keep it discreet. I mean, you guys didn't keep it discreet. You shared concept art, so I can't blame you. But there is a lot to unpack with this announcement. First off, it means that Guild Wars 2 is not saying goodbye yet. It's not saying goodbye yet. Will it maybe after this? Who knows? Are they going to go another Saga after the expansion? Who knows? If the expansion is fantastic and they implement some features or suggestions that I would like to see, which I will have other videos on, and if they really pulls ArenaNet back to its, like, you know, standing in the MMO community, they might be able to continue on with like another Saga or maybe even another expansion. But part of me still hopes that they would make another game, also to diversify their portfolio, and also, you know, engine updates and engine limitations, which, you know, hint, hint, I would like to see that maybe, like, touched upon in an expansion, if they could update it, you know, like, brush up on it, I don't know, performance, graphics, you know, that's another video. But there's so much to unpack here, and part of me doesn't know where to start, and I don't want to necessarily start in this video because it is kind of just like an introduction of the news that we've gotten in the past week. But I can't help, and I'm already very much tempted to make 3 videos for elite speculations for the armor, and I think I'm gonna do it. And all my college classes have been moved to online, so I have some free time. I have my own schedule that I'm devising, so I can probably do it. A lot more videos, but there's a lot to say. Oh my god. What I will say from my channel's perspective, and what you might see from me, this is also kind of like an update on like where I'm going. I have not played factions. I've not stepped foot in Cantha. Not even a foot, not even a toe, not even a big toe. Like, I have not. So you're not going to necessarily be seeing a lot of lore leading up to Guild Wars 2, other than some lore that they might, you know, release and establish. Maybe they might have a community blog post for a week highlighting maybe a key character that, you know, has some connection to the factions game, or an area that has lore, and maybe they, you know, give us some details on like how it's changed over the time of 250 years, or however long, you know, the distance in time was. But yeah, so maybe not necessarily a lot of lore videos. Regardless, shout out to WP, because Wooden Potatoes is a cornucopia of all things Guild Wars 2 lore, and I know we all enjoy it, so I will be looking out for that. You might see me in the comments section. But I'm definitely going to be talking about features. I definitely want to focus on features, elite specializations. As I mentioned, I'd like to maybe, you know, maybe they can do something with the engine, because there is that like DX12 add-on. Could they integrate that into the actual game? I mean, they integrated build templates, which was a third-party system that was originally a third-party system, but they built it themselves. Do they have the same materials? Do they have the same resources, the capabilities to do that? Who knows? I want to touch on masteries. I want to touch on weapons and maybe balance, because, you know, with the whole wheelhouse of elite specializations and affecting professions, existing professions, the discussion about balance has to come up some way or another. I want to talk about races, sub-races, storylines, leveling, armor, all that stuff, outfits. How are they going to monetize? That is what I'm kind of hoping to look at, more so the features. But, you know, if new lore comes out and I might want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. You know, I'll talk about it. Hell, I could have a whole dedicated video about just this concept art and discussing the color palette, actual subject material of this arch and the giant bell, which, by the way, is amazing. So, yeah, that's kind of the introduction to what we were given. Now, to transition and to pivot to some new news that we got today. It was a blog post titled Weekly Strike Rewards. And it's very serendipitous that I did not make this video yesterday and instead decided to wait till today. I may or I may not, you know, everyone knows that we get test access, so I'm just gonna say that. But I didn't think they were going to actually release this information until tomorrow, and we only have to wait a couple more hours if you think about it to play it. So I guess I'll just, you know, TLDR this blog post. It's weekly strike missions. TLDR, strike missions now have their own currency. And they talk about, you know, there's going to be a chest within the Eye of the North, which you will be able to visit with certain crystals that you get from defeating strike bosses, and also by participating in the Visions of the Past, you will get crystals from playing Visions of the Past. So it's you have a lot of access to this material. Once you have enough crystals, you can go to a chest, unlock it, get some rewards. And I don't think they mentioned any other possible rewards, but you guys will be able to see that come tomorrow. But yeah, as a little quick update, you'll have more incentive to play weekly strike missions, and I'm so happy about this because I love playing strike missions, but nothing feels worse than completing a strike mission that you guys like slaved over. The Bone Skinner, Whisper of Jormag, really tough, well-crafted boss fights, but no one does them, or when you do them and you kill it and you don't get anything. You get like a couple, you got bloodstone dust and you get a couple masterwork pieces of gear and some ingots, and like that's it. And you're like, okay, well, time to go make some ancient boreal weapons, but I don't really want to right now, so I'm kind of just hoarding the material before I do it. But it's nice to see that there is a actual currency sink that you can get into. I know I had mentioned the possibility of when you complete a strike mission, every week or so, you can get 5 bloodstone shards. No, wait, not, were they bloodstone shards? Bloodstone shards and imperial fragments? You'll get 5 of the Heart of Thorns raid currency and 5 of the Path of Fire raid currency. That's what I was trying to say. But no, they decided to make a whole entire new currency, which, you know, does contribute to currency bloat, but I can see why they want to deviate from normal raid currency. But I think having raid currency wouldn't have been a bad idea either, considering strike missions are supposed to be a transitory medium vehicle into raiding. And I hope we get more raids and fractals soon, so that'll be nice to hear of whenever they're ready to talk about it. Whenever it's on the table. whenever someone decides to bust the table and pick up some damn plates and go wash it so we can eat again. Thank you. Wow, I just made that on the fly. Okay, cool. I'm great. Well, anyway. So that was the news for this week. We have episode 3 coming. Well, first off, we have visions of the past coming with season 1, with, well, parts of season 1. We have an incentive to play strike missions. We have Super Adventure Box coming. We have episode 3 and potentially another Vision of the Past episode or episode 4. We have Dragon Bash, and we have some legendary stuff coming into PvP and World vs. World. Once again, guys, if you guys are not playing a competitive game mode, either World vs. World or player versus player, the 2v2 mini season is fantastic, and I really love it. However, I still think there's some balance issues, and this is not the video necessarily to talk about it, but I just want to say, Guardian burning is still a little too insane, and Necromancers, I know they fixed Lich form in terms of its duration, but the amount of damage you can still get out of it in 10 seconds is far too much, in my opinion. So I would like to see, maybe come tomorrow they'll do it and this will be meaningless, but I'd like to see a couple more nerfs, particularly with the Guardian burning. And why do they need 2 teleports on the sword and Judge's intervention? Like, why do you need 2 teleports with burning and blind and fury, like, and immobilize on certain, so anyway. And Necro, I'd like to see a little bit of a nerf. And then I want to make a whole video on Revenant in terms of how Revenants play, the energy system. They just nerfed Revenant so hard by just increasing the energy cost. And you know what? I've been playing a lot of Revenant lately. They are still very strong. But still, just to make every skill cost 35 damn energy with your weapon skills having cooldowns and costing their own energy, I don't know. Doesn't sit right with me. But that's for another video. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Leave your comments below on all the news that just come out, concept art and all. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Mwah.